नमस्ते दोस्तों, मैं सुमित कुमार सिंह आज आपके सामने एक ऐसे टॉपिक पे बात करने जा रहा हूं जो भारत की ग्लोबल ताकत को दर्शाता है। द टॉपिक इज हाउ इंडिया इज गेनिंग आर्म एक्सपोर्ट्स। आर्म एक्सपोर्ट सिर्फ बिजनेस नहीं बल्कि भारत का सेल्फ रिलायंस, इनोवेशंस और स्ट्रेटेजिक पावर का सिंबल है। As an analyst who has worked closely with the Indian Armed Forces and has studied this trade for years, I'll share a fact-based overview of Indian arm export growth, top exports, R&D impact, or the new policies. So let's explore how India is becoming emerging a star in the global arms trade. Number one, point number one. भारत का आर्म एक्सपोर्ट बूम. The real figures, Indian arm exports journey is remarkable. From being the world top arm importers, India has entered the top 25 exporter list. If you look at the government figures, the Economic Survey 2023-24 reports the defense exports reaches to 21,083 crore, that is 2.63 billion. As per the government figures, Economic Survey 2023-24 reports the defense exports reaches to 21,083 crore, that is 2.63 billion dollar in dollar terms. In financial year 23-24, 32.5% increase from 15,920 crore to financial year 2022-23 with the target of 5,000 crore. Exports grew in the 31 times over the last decades. Compared to financial year 2013, export growth grew 31 times over the last decades. Compared to financial year 2013-2014, total exports rose from rupees 4,300 crore 2004-14 to 88,319 crore in the year 2014-2024 in last decades. If you look at the global reach, Indian export to 85 countries including Myanmar, which is 31%, Sri Lanka 19%, all the arm imported by Sri Lanka is from India, Mauritius, Nepal, Vietnam is buying the Indian topmost missiles, that is called BrahMos. Armenia has bought lot of missiles technology, radar technology, and Maldives. If you look at the BrahMos, which is a supersonic missile, export to the Philippines in whopping 375 million US dollar deal. If you look at the Pinaka rocket launchers, multi-barrel rocket system exported to Armenia in good number, which has given the advantage to Armenia with the conflict with Azerbaijan. If we look at the Dornier aircraft, which is basically takes care of marine, it's a patrolling aircraft and surveillance. It's a mix of various combination. Dornier 2 to 8 aircraft, surveillance aircraft supplied to Mauritius in the recent past. If you look at the other missiles and the technology which India had exported, like Akash missiles, radars, artillery guns, armored vehicle, helicopter, Dhruv Chetak, and personal protective gears, like India has made lot of gear, right from bulletproof helmet to the dresses of the Indian Armed Forces, jerseys for the various national armed forces, right from shoes to all everything. Lot of protective gears is made in Indian factory, supplied to world across. That means the export. If you look at the statistics, Craig Age rating projected Indian defense productions to grow at 20% CAGR from financial year 2014 to financial year 2019, with export grows at 19%, which is the huge number, 20 to 19%, the average growth in last year. So it's a huge thing for the Indian arm export, and it has lot of potential to grow further. If you look at and the deeper analysis, the Indian arm exports, though only 0.2% of the global market, It's a long distance India need to cover if India wanted to be dominant force in the arm exports. We have just 0.2% of the total export worldwide. It's been traditionally ruled by the Western allies and the Soviet Russia. They supply a lot of technology and the arms to the other countries. India is just in the rapid mode. This is showing how a strong growth potential due to competitive price and strategic diplomacy. India has placed lot of defense committee and the groups through its diplomacy to export lots of arms. The country who are looking for value for money. Now we are going to the number two, which arm exports and R&D effects. Arm exports is driving Indian defense R&D research and development forward because we need money to do lot of research. Revenue from the exports or the global demand are boosting. If you look at the innovations across the ecosystem, it is really helping us. Yes, it's helping in funding R&D, export earning support, DRDO, and the private sector research. In financial, if you look at the financial year 2014-25, the rupees 6.22 lakhs crore defense budget allocated 5,000 crore. Out of that, the 5,000 crore is for R&D with 25%, that is 1,300 crore for the private players. Earlier it's traditionally DRDO and the other government agencies gets the majority share. Now the private sector, especially the startup who is looking to invest a lot of R&D and the new age technology, they are also being promoted and supported by the government agency. Even the a lot of DRDO is supporting, they are doing hands holding to support private ecosystem to grow in this space. If you look at the global standard, export markets require a high quality products, pushing Indians arm to innovate. For example, BrahMos missile success has spurred R&D into hypersonic versions. First is now, if you look at the yesterday announcement from DRDO, we have achieved hypersonic technology which even the America and China don't have. So in hypersonic missile technology, India is going to be a dominant force, maybe number 1 or 2. Russia already have. If you look at the MSME contributions, a small and medium scale industry, which is helping us to grow Indian arm export. Exports engaged MSME is producing subsystem drones. If you look at the drones, lot of the new ventures has come, which is supporting and innovating the new drones for Indian armed forces. Lot of innovations is going on. India might be a dominant force in terms of the exporting arms drone to the worldwide. The night visions devices like the specs and lot of night visions camera required, eyeglasses required if they are fighting in the night. These firms reinvest profit into the R&D to meet the global standard. Yes, because earning from the profit goes to the R&D and skilling up. For example, the Indian Armed Forces rigorous testing standard ensure the exported products like Pinaka. Pinaka is one of the best rockets ever produced in the world. It has the maximum range. It's the number 1 in the world. If we look at the Akash missile, even somebody calls it Akasa. Its Akash missiles meets the international benchmark, encouraging continuous R&D into this sector. If you remember the late great scientist and the president of India, he once told, I'm quoting, quote, "A strength respects strength. Export-driven R&D is making Indian," unquote. Export-driven R&D is making India defense capabilities much strong. If you go in the deeper analysis, exports revenue is catalyst for the innovations. But India must address the gap in critical technology to compete with the global leaders like the US, China, Russia, France, Germany. They are one of the dominant forces in terms of exporting arms, submarine, and others. If you look at the Indian arms exports policy closely, it had changed dramatically. India's government has created a robust framework to boost the arm exports. The Aatmanirbhar Bharat campaign is the cornerstone of this transformation. Simplified, produced, easy end-to-end online exports, authorizations, reduced delays. The Indian Defence Mart portal streamlines the export license for companies. In these schemes, there are the key features. This portal is helping really in the great manner for the Indian export. Schemes for Protections of Defense Export, that is called SPDE scheme, funded by the Government of India, provides the financial supports for international defense exhibitions and marketing. Yes, all the marketing happens through the exhibitions, all the arms exhibitions happens across the world. Now Indian private sectors company, even the semi-government rules and the complete government rules organizations are participating in the exhibitions, which is helping in terms of exporting lot of arms to the world. People have shown the interest. The countries have shown the interest in Indian arms. If you look at the Technology Upgradations Fund scheme, that is called TUFS, which is for modernizing defense manufacturing in India. The Export Promotional Councils, another one, connects Indian innovators with the global investors. There are a lot of funds available. So in that way, it helps to Indian startups. If you are into the business of arm exports, this video is definitely going to help you. And if you are planning innovator to do something great in the armed forces, then this is the right kind of business opportunity for you if you are coming from, let's say, the business background. Why this is important? It has given us the Positive Indianizations List (PIL), which is 928 new subsystems and 3,738 DPSU items listed for domestic productions, reductions imports, and boosting exports. If you look at any sophisticated technology, right from missiles to tank to all those artilleries, they require lots of small and big stuff. To do all the manufacturing within India, they need lots of support. So on that term, this is supporting a lot. If you look at the Defense Acquisitions Producer Association, which is called DAP, in 2020, prioritized the domestic manufacturing with the negative list, banning 310 imports item by 2027. And banning this has forced the Indian industry to innovate more on that field. Or maybe we are the self-reliance, so that we have banned that thing. And the number is keep growing. What is the statistics? Sorry. Export authorizations increased from 1,414 in financial year 2023 to 1,507 in financial year 2024. Example, the Philippines BrahMos deals and Armenia Pinaka contract demonstrates the success of these policies. After buying these sophisticated arms from the India, they have their advantage against their traditional enemies. If you look the closer analysis, this policy have made the India a reliable supplier, but better coordinations between Ministry of Defense and industry is needed to scalability. And slowly the scalability is what drives the business and export market worldwide. So government and the private agencies are working very closely in this field. What are the challenges and the future options for Indian SME, the exporting this arm. So while India arms exports growth is the impressive, challenges persist. Yes, low global share. India still have, as I explained earlier, India holds just 0.2% of the global arms market, far behind the US 43% and the French, which is like 10.9%, close to 11% arm export by worldwide is the French arms. So the French, even though country is a small, they are the powerful in terms of supplying technology and sophisticated arms to worldwide. Even India has bought lot of arms and missiles from French. Problematic area, let me address. There is a very limited buyers of Indian arms right now, but the number is keep growing. The traditional one is Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Armenia are the key markets. But diversifying into a stable and long-term buyer is a critical. Even the Vietnam is now the added advantage. There is the huge gap in research and development (R&D) sectors. Lack of critical technology like the jet engines or advanced subsystems like limits the export potential. You know how the Tejas is still in the process. The manufacturing of Tejas aircraft, the delivery of Tejas aircraft by Hindustan Aeronautics has delayed because the engine 404 not received from the US. Because of that delay, India is not getting on an average 2 to 3 aircraft per month. So that's the bigger thing. So India has to be self-reliant in terms of getting the engine technology. Yes, the Kaveri engine did not materialize on that terms, but India is keep working with the new alliances. Hopefully, in the futures, we will have our own aircraft engine manufacturing units right in India, here in India. Emerging markets like Southeast Asia, Middle East, and Africa offers a growing demands for cost-effective defense solutions. Yes, India is giving the cost-effective. Indian arms are the cost-effective and value for money. High-value exports requires a platform like BrahMos, Pinaka, and the Tejas aircraft have a strong potential. But if you look at the Tejas, even though Hindustan Aeronautics is unable to supply, HUL is unable to supply the Indian demands, Indian Armed Forces demand the number of order placed. So how it's going to compete with the world? This is the grade, yeah, where India need to work a lot. Why this helps in the strategic diplomacy? If you look at the closure, the entire this activity, the lines of credit and the grants to the friendly countries can drive exports growth. As the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh says, the Indian defense exports will reach 50,000 crore by 2019 and 30. This target is achievable with the sustained efforts. As analyst says, the Indian strategic focus on Indianizations and diplomatic positions it to capture the large global market share, provided R&D gaps are addressed. R&D is the only lacking field. Once we achieve, maybe in coming decades, India will be much capable arm exports country in the world. So, दोस्तों, Indian arm exports growth is the testament to its ambitions and capability. From 600 crore in 2014 to 24,000 crore in 2024, the journey is inspiring. Top exports like BrahMos, Pinaka, and Donia showcase the Indian manufacturing strength. Policy like Aatmanirbhar Bharat and DAP into 2020 are transformative, while the exports revenue fuels R&D supported by the Indian Armed Forces. Now I am giving you a challenge. As future leaders, think how you can contribute to the Indian defense ecosystem, because most of my viewers are the MBA graduates and somebody who are interested in learning the complicated business skills. So my question is for you as a future leaders. I'm asking to you, and you ask yourself, how can this question is for you? How can I help make India a global defense powerhouse? The opportunity is the opportunity is yours to save. Thank you. Jai Hind.